Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here with my good friend Jasmin Savoy Brown.
It's me.
Is that?
Jasmin Savoy Brown.
Jasmin Savoy.
Jasmin Savoy.
Brown.
Brown.
Brown. It needs to be the pulse.
Like brown, depending.
Yes. I'm a little bit more
I'm a
brown.
little bit light right now.
She's a little bit lighter. Yeah.
I kind of match my bracelet.
A little rope. She's
Yeah.
more rope coloured. Hey,
But I
you
could
see,
get you in a-
we're locked. We're locked in an arm wrestling comp. A little copy right now.
I've been working out. You can kind of see it. Because I ride a scooter now and I have to pull it back.
I just found out that she
And
rides
it
a scooter.
Makes my...
She looks very cool in it though. You got nice arms.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been doing 6 push-ups a day.
6?
That's about my max. Started at 2.
Is this all at once? Or is this throughout the course of the day?
All at once.
Okay.
Often with the knees.
6?
I just don't have arm strength. I have leg strength. I don't have arm strength.
A lot of girls are like that until you develop it, yeah.
Yeah, I will get there.
Yeah, you
I
will.
want to be like a lot of girls.
I mean, it's just like you have no reason to develop upper body strength growing up, for the most part.
No, I mean, I played football for 2 games. That probably developed some, basketball. Not really. I used to do the tricks where you'd swing and hang from the monkey bars.
The monkey
and
bars?
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you did that more often.
But I was ripped as a kid, but not so much now.
You started
I want
drinking.
to get a little... Then I started drinking. Age 11, first beer. That's a lie. 8th grade.
First whiskey.
8th grade, had my first beer.
8th grade?
Mm-hmm. And my friends tricked me. We went skinny dipping down by the lake, or the river, and then they ran off with my clothes. Don't drink and swim, kids.
This is much like your character in The Leftovers.
Ha ha ha! True. That is true. That's where the world saw me naked for the first time. Don't look through my phone. You'll see a whole lot more. Anyways, what are we talking about?
I was really taken off
nudes on your
guard
phone?
by that scene. Absolutely not.
I didn't.
No.
Why were you taken off guard? It wasn't like just.
I
'cause
just
you weren't
wasn't expecting it.
nakedness.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really understand. It was just, it went from, I forgot where it came from.
Right? No, that's not. No, singing in choir.
You were singing in choir and just running naked.
Running naked in the woods.
The 3 of you would and I was alright, where are they going?
You want to know something about that?
Huh?
Weird, funny story. So I like my bush. I like to keep a little bush.
Yeah.
And the other 2 girls were totally clean shaven.
I noticed.
Well, but in post, they gave, we zoomed in once, they gave them a little bit of a bush.
Really?
Because, they were clean and they gave them a little bit of hair.
You had something.
I had...
Yeah. I saw it all. I saw it all.
There was a 4th character, Jasmin's bush.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like in post they took care of that a little bit.
They took a little out.
They
gave some from me to them.
Yeah.
Even out the love.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Why'd they give them... I guess it's weird.
To be totally,
it's like a baby.
Right? That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's why I like to keep some hair.
To show
Makes me feel like a woman.
Yeah.
Totally bare, although it can be nice. It just makes me feel 11.
Yeah, it's the porn culture.
Yeah.
It really is. Anyways.
Anyway.
This is a very good friend of mine, Jasmin Brown.
Nice
and we've known each other for 4 years, 2013.
2013 or the beginning of 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little over 3 years.
Okay, so a little over 3 years.
Yes.
It felt like a lifetime, honestly. Not in a bad way, but just like a connected way.
Yeah.
So we met in class, and then we happened to be cast in the ABC Showcase together, and we were partnered up, and we did the scene together. And it's just kind of been like our lives have been interconnected ever since.
Yeah.
Jasmin is really, really busy right now. And, I'm really lucky that she's giving me an hour of her life. Because, maybe it's just because I follow your social media, but I feel like you're everywhere.
I'm everywhere right now.
I feel like you're everywhere.
Like, where am I? Yesterday I was looking at an apartment, because I'm about to move. And I stopped and I thought, what did I do today? How did I get here? It took me a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're just...
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. Like, a lot of people have been like, my memory's so bad, I think millennials, our memory is just bad because our brain is in so many more places than the future generations. Like, the past generations.
Mm-hmm.
All the technology, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, that other thing, running around, 17 shows. It's just so spread out. I don't actually think anything's wrong with any of us. I think that's the norm.
That's
I
interesting.
don't know. I just realized that a couple days ago. Because everyone our age is always like, I think my memory's so bad. I think something's wrong with me. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just we are in so many places at once. Maybe that's just to make me feel better.
No. I think there's something to that. I couldn't tell you what I did this weekend. It's Tuesday.
Right? It takes a minute. It takes a minute.
So Jasmine, why don't you take us back to the beginning? I was reading up on you that it's funny, I'm reading up on you.
That's weird.
Yeah, watching all your interviews and watching the shows that are available. And I just, I'm learning new things by doing that.
Yeah.
Things that I partially knew, but just learning them in a different light. So you pretty much came out of the womb knowing that you wanted to be creative
Always.
and perform.
100%. From the beginning, always. And I told everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an actress. I'm a singer. I'm a performer. Since I was a kid. I would stop people in the grocery store. I'm like, can I sing you a song? Can you picture that?
Yes, I just did.
Yeah. Okay, sure. My mom was like, don't talk to strangers. But can I sing to strangers? Always. Just addicted.
Singing.
Singing first, yeah. But then acting in singing and storytelling in singing. But singing came first.
Yeah, and I knew you've always loved singing, and I knew, especially when we did the showcase and she stood up on the stage and I was just like, oh, this is where you belong. It was so clear. I was like, this is your home. And like just the magnitude of it. But yeah, I was reading and I saw that a lot of your first performances were singing.
Yeah.
Really,
solos
solos and a lot of choirs and just groups. What was that like?
It started as a very spiritual thing.
The church?
And singing to God.
That was the first time you got up and sang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I remember specifically my first ever solo. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
I think it was Silver and Gold. And it was in front of my church, and I was sitting there, and I was like singing, and I was just singing to God. And I'd look at my mom, and it was very much about God and that connection. And that's where I felt, even at that young of an age, where I felt the most close and connected to God and myself and the world. And I just love that feeling. And then another memory from that early age, which my mom forgot about, but I just reminded her. I saw her a couple weeks ago. My grandma died when I was almost 3. And I have this clear memory of my mom in her bedroom, broken down, crying, and there was this ray of sunlight on her, and I just felt like God said, you need to sing to your mom to make her feel better. And I did, and I was singing to her, and I was like comforting her, like the roles were reversed, this 3-year-old. And it just made her sob even more, but in a healing, beautiful way, And I think even at that young of an age, that's when I knew this is something beyond something that I love to do, something I have to do.
Yeah, that you're meant to do.
Yeah. And then it just took shape into musicals and acting and yeah.
That's so interesting. So it's kind of like divinely inspired.
Well, totally.
Your existence.
And that's one way to put it. Yeah. And I still feel that, maybe we'll get into it, maybe we won't, but just religion and all of that has been a big part of my struggle and my identity, but I've never doubted my faith in God. And I never feel closer to God or more like everything makes sense than when I'm singing. That's why I love being on stage so much. I feel at home. I'm sure a lot of it is ego and clapping, people looking at me, but it's also just because, it's biblical, right? The heavens open with music. I don't know. I just love it.
It's really, really interesting. It just reminds me of the scene. I've been binging The Leftovers, and I think I watched 4 episodes because I realized you were only in so many,
Hardly any of it.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I can't just be watching the show, but I like it. It's a really good show. And what you just told me about the story with your mom sounds a lot like the story. What's Javon's character? Michael. The story he tells in the church. About it was how he turned the water on so that it would drown out your crying, so his mother didn't have to. And that was a really, really moving scene. And yeah, I mean, I was gonna get to it later, but it just seems like it's your life. Like looking at your filmography, and just our relationship and knowing how religious you are and well how faith-based you are and how religious you were coming out here and how you've transitioned into who you are now, which is this really authentic, thriving character, which I also want to touch on. Is how a lot of your film work, I think, yeah, mostly the film work and then this TV show, there's Christianity in it.
Right. I
Camp
can't
Harlow,
escape it. I know.
You know, what, Virgins?
Yeah, the Virgins.
The Virgins,
Yeah.
The Leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just seems like there's this
True.
constant theme of religion or like a cult
or
or spirituality or some kind of deep faith. And
yeah.
It brings me back to, I think, the first month that I saw you in class where I think we had to write a monologue for our first exercise.
Yeah,
I think.
that was my very first month.
I think, yeah, and you were a warrior, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she shook the room. You shook the ground of the room. And there was that look in your eye, and, all the older women were like, oh yeah, it's a warrior, it's a goddess right there. And all the men were like, whoa, So we felt it there, and you were what, 19? You were young.
Yeah.
You were young, probably even younger, And to see that scene where Evie's crossing the bridge, leading those people.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps because I was like, oh, that's Xena. That's what she's supposed to be doing or something on that scale. Do you feel that in your regular life, that you operate from that place?
Yeah. Yeah. That's been a struggle. I think that's partially just coming into oneself, but then also LA, and all the opposing forces and just different people saying, oh, religion this or Christianity that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I felt that since I was a kid, and then I tried to stray away from it and abandon it for a while.
In high school?
For a while once I got here, I
Okay.
got to LA and just had different friends and different influences. But what I've come to realize, and I'm still figuring it out, but what I just know that I am a spiritual person and I believe in God. That doesn't mean that I have to believe with every religious rule.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been trying to figure out is if I identify as a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I believe in God and I believe in love. And I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it's such a struggle of my life. I didn't even realize that about my filmography until you pointed it out. I never made.
I mean, you would really have to go and look at it.
But it makes sense. Yeah, it's just because it's just such this thing I'm always going back and forth with. Because there's so much I love about Christianity and that community, and so much I don't love, and even just who I am,
Mm-hmm.
the way I identify and how I live my life is not in line with Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
as it is in text. Not in text, not in like the Bible, but just people's statements on what it means today.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at it and think about it, I just think and know that God is love.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I believe that and I feel that. And how can me doing things that bring me love or joy or being in a healthy, committed relationship or so many different things, how can that be bad?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it anymore. So it's a struggle of my life.
No,
but I'm figuring it out one day at a time.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like just from the synopsis of Will, there's a show that's going to be coming out on TNT this summer that she stars in. It seems like it's about Shakespeare's younger years through like a rock and roll vantage point. And would you like to describe your character in that? Because it seems like the logical next step in your progression. You know, where it's like, I could not find Stitchers. But I was also much more interested in watching your work on The Leftovers than Stitchers. But it just seems like the way that Evie transitioned in The Leftovers was like, well, of course, the next step is going to be this type of character. If I'm seeing it the way that it is. I don't know what the character's like, but the way it's been described, it seems like she is not abiding to any Christian standards. She's living her life. You know, she's sleeping with whoever she wants. She's having a great time. You know, how do you feel about that?
And she's a feminist, and she was the first, well, it depends on the research you do, one of the first two published female English poets who used her name. She didn't pen under a man's name. Like, that right there tells you everything you need to know about her. She was a real person, Amelia Bassano, Venetian, maybe, me as her, Venetian black, because I am. Depends on the research you do again, but definitely not white. But was taken from her family to study in London, and then came up and became a mistress, because that's how many women had to survive in the day. But she was educated and could read and became a poet, and ended up opening a school for kids and doing so much stuff. And she was perhaps Shakespeare's Dark Lady of his sonnets and his muse. Some people believe she actually wrote some of his plays. I believe that. I think she definitely inspired a lot of them. But yeah, she did what she wanted to do in a man's world. But she played the game. That's something that I'm learning, that I've learned from her just about existing in this career, is you have to play the game. Be yourself within the game to then change the construct. That's something that pissed me off at the beginning. I was like, no, I want to just come in as me and blah, blah, blah. But no one will make room for you unless you fit into their mold first. So you got to fit the mold and then shatter it. And that's what she did.
It's different. I agree with that when it comes to acting. Music, I don't think you have to do that.
I agree. Not with music.
Yeah,
not
if
music
you like
at
Chance the Rapper, for example.
I'm seeing him.
Yeah, I know.
In a few weeks.
I know. You're so excited. She keeps telling me.
I'm
going to get you on here, Chance. We're only a few degrees of separation apart.
It's true.
But yeah, so after doing that role, how do you feel? I know there was a lot of downtime you had, you know, to explore it was Wales, right?
Wales,
the countryside of Wales and all of that.
Wales.
The Wales countryside. When you left that, and I know that you grew a lot in that hotel room, how do you feel you came back to the States after that experience?
I feel like I came back more chilled out. I want to say more humble, but I feel like you can't say that about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, just I realized more about how much work I have to do. That I have to work a lot harder, and how much more I need to give to this art form. It took me like a month and a half to realize, oh, I can be using my downtime to write, or to be researching films, or reading more plays, or just in terms of art and approach and all of that. I feel like it grounded me more. And yeah, grounded, that's the word. Because even just in my personal life, like there's so much going on with working and being all over the place and all of that. And before I was just so flighty and stressed out, and I mean, it showed on my face, like so broken out. And I'm just taking a breath and being like, okay, I'm doing all of this, but I'm going to be on the ground while I do it. And it's showing, like my skin is clearing up slowly, and it's responsibility. A big part of it's time management. I've always had bad time management. Bad. And it's gotten a lot better. I think I've only been late twice since I got back, which is huge for me. I've been 15 minutes early to stuff because I'm actually getting up and taking a shower. Like, it might not seem like a big deal, but that's affected my whole life. Just starting my day not in a rush helps me feel grounded. It's all a big circle.
Where did that come from? Do you think that? Well,
I noticed at the hotel when they're just coming to pick me up to take me to set, I'd be like a minute late outside. I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to do my makeup or my hair. I just have to get out of bed downstairs, and I'm a minute late. That's unacceptable. That just woke me up, because also it's a cultural thing. I feel like here it's okay
to be late.
Yeah, like I shoot Leftovers in Austin, and a couple actors were late to the van, like 20 minutes sometimes. No problem. Over there, or in Australia, when I shot in Australia, a minute late once, like, you know that you're supposed to be here a minute ago. Whoa! So it just woke me up, and so I set my clocks back like 6 minutes. So then it started there. Yeah. So my goal was still to be 5 minutes late with the 6 minutes early. I'm actually 11 minutes early. So around that habit, then I changed them back, and now, but it was that feeling of like, shit, I don't know, I can't let these Welsh people down. I don't know, it just really stressed me out and made me realize that it's bad, my time management.
Well, where do you think the bad time management came from initially?
Oh, that's interesting. I actually think it's a manifestation of resistance. Like, yeah, because even I was thinking about this the other day. Things I really want to do, even as a kid, choir practice, always choir practice. I loved choir. Every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, school's out at 3:04, choir was at 4. Every Tuesday, a part of me wanted choir to get canceled. All day, I'd be like, please, let choir get canceled, or can I just be 20 minutes late because I have a doctor's appointment, something. Why? And it was always a struggle I had every Tuesday, all day, and then I'd get to choir, and I'd be so happy to be there. And I just was thinking about this yesterday. What was that about? And I think it's just resistance, that thing trying to keep me from my calling. Singing, performing, you know? It was just that opposing force trying to keep me from being there. Because it came up. What was I doing recently where I was singing? Singing. It's always with singing. I take a voice class with Bob Garrett in the Valley. He's this incredible vocal teacher, coaches a lot of people on Broadway. He's lovely. He believes in me. He's on my side. And it always comes up when I have a lesson. I just want to get out of it or want to get in a car accident or something. Still. What is that about? And it's with singing specifically. I think it's because I meant to do it, you know? So I think that's what the poor time management is. It's another way. Because if I'm 1 minute late, then I'm in my head all day, not present, just stressing about it, beating myself up. It's keeping me from being present and fully doing my work. I think that's what it's about.
It makes sense.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
The stuff we do to keep ourselves from...
Yeah, unconsciously.
Being,
From being great.
Being great.
You know, so it's usually so self-inflicted. But I'm glad that your time management skills have improved, especially now when you have so much going on. I mean, you came out here in 2014, right?
November 2013.
November 2013.
And I started at the studio March 2014.
So you haven't even been out here 4 years.
3.5.
3.5 years. And the amount of stuff that just like, you know, it's kind of been fast and furious, this ascendancy. I guess God is really calling you up there. Because he's like, come on, hurry
up!
Yeah, just get on Broadway
here.
And then we can make it happen. But how, I guess, you know, for you, one, how was that? You know, because you're saying you're just now coming to terms with this time management issue. How was that in regards to that? How was that in regards to balancing your religious versus your, you know, your own personal desires and lifestyles that you wanted to pursue when you came out here? And how was that in regards to just your relationship to, I guess, the fact that you are meant to do this, you know? Because it's happening it's rare that it happens this fast. You know, you're accomplishing so much. I mean, these aren't just like small indies or like a few guest stars. You know, this HBO. You know, you're booking series regulars on pilots. You know, you're auditioning for Broadway. You know, these are big things that are happening in a very short amount of time. So how has that been for you?
You know, I didn't realize until you just asked that it's always been a thing. The time is directly related to guilt. This was pointed out to me recently, 6 months ago or so, by Michelle.
This is our acting teacher.
That's our acting coach. So that I'm addicted to self-flagellating. True. And ever since she pointed that out, I've been very aware of it. And it's directly related with time. Even as a kid, in terms of spirituality, it would be about my Bible, right? Like, my favorite thing, of course, was always worship. You know, I enjoy reading my Bible, I can get something out of that. But even as a kid, it was worship, singing to God. Even just rehearsal for a musical, I'd feel spiritually fulfilled. You know, but then everyone's like, read your Bible, make time. I'd feel guilt. I don't have time. Now I'm a sinner, now I'm going to hell. Blah. But I'm fine. No, but always directly related to time. And even coming out here, same thing. Make time to go to church. Make time to da-da-da. Yeah, there's important things to that, but I didn't feel like I needed that. What I wanted to make time for was to go on a hike. I feel God in nature, if that's what we're talking about, you know? Or they're listening to Chance the Rapper, you know what I mean? That's enough for me. but about making time, make time for this, make time, which is probably why there's also like a resistance to time. It's really interesting. It's like I can, I will go for weeks, and then I just need 3 days to sleep. That works for me. Mm-hmm. I don't really make time to relax because I can't if I'm doing a lot. Mm-hmm. But then if I don't make time for the right things, I'll feel guilt about it, which then is wasting time beating myself up about it. Mm-hmm. I'm learning a lot. It's only been like 15 minutes. This is
interesting.
Yeah. That's really, really interesting. Because since Michelle pointed that out, it's something I've been aware of, being addicted to self-flagellating or beating myself up. And then Mark and I, one of my roommates, we were talking about it, and because it's one thing just to feel guilty or feel bad and think about it, but then to hold on to it for an hour, that's past learning your lesson. That is something else entirely, and it's a waste of time. It's unhealthy. It's not good for the people around me. They can feel it when I'm sitting there. It's not good for my relationship, Interesting. Hope I answered your question.
One part, the time part.
What was your other
Then
question?
there was the balancing, like, well, I guess you kind of did. I guess it just all goes back to time. Because the second part was balancing, your religious background versus, the personal parts of yourself that you were exploring out here with this rapid ascendance.
Yeah, okay. Well, for that, and it is all related to time. I take my time off. And it's become like 3 or 4 days a month, which in the beginning I wouldn't have done. I really believe in seasons. When I first got here, I needed just like 1.5 years, 2 years of focus, not leaving. I didn't go home for 2 Christmases, partly because I couldn't afford it. I didn't take time off of class. I didn't take time off of auditioning. Head to the ground, go. And then came a season of a break. Last summer, was in Australia for 2 months, shooting The Leftovers, but only for a few days. And we took like 6 weeks to just drive. And I said no to auditions, missed out on some opportunities, but knew I needed that. And it's just about being in tune with myself. And right now, I take 3 or 4 days a month and just go out of town. I need that to be grounded. Otherwise, I won't be present, and I won't do good work, and I don't feel guilty about it anymore. I did it first because I know there's something I need to be in LA. I'll know when I need to be in LA, and that inner part of me is never wrong, which has been a theme, and that's how I know now with the balancing religion and who I am. I already know, I know what's true to me, and it's just about listening to that voice and being more okay with it.
It takes a lot of strength, though, especially to listen to that voice and to trust and rely on that voice, especially when, you've grown up in a culture where, you're pretty much told to listen to the good word or the book.
Right.
That's what you rely on. You rely on God.
Right.
But for whatever reason, it's not, it is taught to an extent, but it's not emphasized that God, everything that book is supposed to represent is just within.
Here.
Yeah.
And we all know as a kid, I knew that already. But then adults or people, they try to take you away from that. Maybe not. It's not even on purpose. I think it's their people who don't have their shit together and are trying to figure it out too. And I heard something recently. Maybe it was on a TV show. I don't remember. But someone said, cherish your childhood. When you're an adult, you're going to wish you were a kid. Those are your best memories. And someone else said, your childhood is the whole thing that you go to therapy for. It just depends on the way you look at it, That's what fucks you up. Yeah. I don't know.
How is that? It's really funny because we're talking about faith. And, I'm glad that, you gave me a reason to watch The Leftovers because I just see a lot of what you're talking about. This balancing and grappling act of life in that show. And
I love it so much.
Yeah, how was that? I watched Good Day Melbourne today.
What, the one from Sunday?
I think it was the most recent one.
Okay.
Where you had the burqa on.
Yeah, I loved it.
The hijab?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just it really moves me. That show really moves me. Um, what's it like operating in that world? I know you're only on set there for like small bits of time, but what's it like operating in that world with those actors? Like, whether it's Kevin, right, or Justin, or Carrie, or Liv,
Goddess.
right?
She's a
I love her.
goddess.
I never heard of her until this show. She is
a goddess.
Yeah.
And in real life, in Australia, Camille and I got sick.
Yeah.
She brought us chicken noodle soup to our hotel room. She made us chicken noodle soup and brought it to us.
I can see that. I love when she's on screen.
I know.
I love it.
I said, I just watched her. There was a scene in the second season where we're all having like a picnic. Just watching Carrie Coon drink a glass of water is a masterclass. That was one of my favorite days ever. Just because I got to like sit in a scene with her and watch her breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, she came up in the theater. Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah, and
she's married to Tracy Letts.
Yeah. I did my research on her too because I was like, who is this woman?
Oof.
Yeah.
Answer your question, being on that set, it's the ultimate dream. This will sound weird, but it feels like there's no pressure because everyone is so brilliant. I don't know, it's just, I know I get to work with these brilliant creative people. It's HBO, so we're not in a rush. We can really take our time and explore and do different things. We're not worried about continuity. Thank God, I'm so bad at continuity. It's just about acting.
Yeah.
And that's their main focus. And Mimi Leader is brilliant at shots and setups and all of that, so she's taking care of that, and the director's there, and it's just these brilliant actors. It just felt like a dream. No pressure, which sounds so weird, and everyone thinks there must be all this pressure because it's The Leftovers. You're just not thinking about that. You're just thinking, I get to look into this beautiful human's eyes.
Yeah.
That's it, And Kevin Carroll played my dad.
John Murphy.
Oh, I love that man. He's like another dad to me now, and a mentor in my life. I call him all the time for advice, or if I have Broadway auditions, he'll coach me on the acting, because he's done a lot of theater as well. And specifically a scene he coached me on set. He would come to set sometimes just to watch. So when she's an actor and just loves acting and being on set. He was there the day, episode 9 of season 2, the reveal where Evie and her friends are in the trailer. And I was having a really hard time with that. I think because it was the first time of no dialogue, even though I really wanted that, but I was having a hard time. And it might seem like simple advice, but it was huge to me in the moment and has changed my career. He just said, what is Evie thinking right now? You're just in the trailer. What do you think? And then you hear the knock. What's everything going through your head? Who is that? Is it my mom? Is it Meg? Is it my dad? What's going on? Just to simply be in her mind and not thinking about everything that's it, then you'll have all of your answers. Yeah. Like, that was it. And that dropped me in. And it seems kind of simple, but I don't know, because sometimes you're thinking about everything and hitting the mark and what do I have to portray and blah, blah, blah. What is she thinking right now? He just gave me that all the time, and that's all he wants to do is just give, and he loves acting so much, and he just wants to teach and give, and because that's what he's been doing his whole career. This has blown him up. He's been in the game a long time. Every famous black actor is his friend, and he coached all of them on that audition.
Really?
All of them.
He's a real actor.
He's an actor, and he's
a real
so
actor.
giving. He just comes over, just wants a burrito, and he'll coach me. He likes his burritos. That's all it takes.
He lives out here now?
Well, yeah, he's back and forth between here and where his mom is, somewhere in the Midwest.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that whole experience was like a dream because I don't really know what I'm watching when I watch the show.
Right.
It feels very surreal and very dreamlike, so it's cool that it's streamlined over into your experience.
Completely.
And your consciousness. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch everything, episode by episode.
Yeah.
Because it's compelling and the acting is incredible. And yeah, it's a very interesting story.
I'm curious what some of your favorite moments are.
Um, Most recently, well, I just watched Good Day Melbourne. Honestly, whenever Miss Coons
I know anything she's
is
in.
on
I know.
in front of the camera, I like her a lot.
Mhm.
And the scene I never really knew Justin. Found out he's from DC actually. Thoreau outside of when he was in Charlie's Angels 2.
Okay.
I think he plays Drew Barrymore's boyfriend. I remember him. He had those tattoos, and he was just like this wild Irishman.
You know, he wrote Tropic Thunder.
He's written like Iron Man 3 also.
He's written a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
He's all over.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
yeah. And I know he did a lot of stage work as well. Um, but yeah, the scene where he realized, I cried when he realized that you were an illusion. You know,
Yeah.
that was so sad to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can only, but then I also don't have the other pieces of the puzzle from the previous seasons because I've been hopping back and forth to understand why he is like that. But just seeing that individual, just and I'm kind of familiar with mental illness and people having chemical imbalances, neurological imbalances. To not be able to control oneself and one's mind and one's body seems like the scariest thing in the world. And there are so many people, that have to deal with it on a daily basis. And it's like, is Lori, is that her name? Mm-hmm. Is that his sister or his ex-wife?
Ex-wife.
So when she says, remember when I told you not to tell a delusional person that they're having delusions in their moment of delusion?
Right.
I was just like, oh yeah, that's everything. Because he's like, yeah, look at the photo again. It's not easy. That moment, for so many different reasons, was very moving to me. A lot of them, though, man. Like, the episode you're in season 2, that girl, I have so many questions, about that girl and that character, about why she, and I've read some of your interviews where you kind of go into that, why she made the decision she made. I have a slight feeling it's, the writing, that they kept it so mysterious that, it's kind of hard to tie it together,
Right.
But, from the first time we see her in the water, being this carefree, seemingly very sexually open, or at least sexually inviting girl, or just flirtatious, maybe not even knowing what that is, but just that had that air about her, to seeing her at choir practice, to seeing her running naked, to seeing her, with the softball in the backyard, and, just the way you interacted with the girl and the baby. So did your mom fuck a black guy? At the barbecue. I was just like, who is this girl? Who is this young lady? Yeah. And, I mean, I know it's partially the writing and the way that they set it up, but what do you think, like, in your bones, is, what makes her tick?
Lies. And I think that, lies. And and the whole thing of Miracle and Jardin made her mad because it's a lie. Yeah, no one disappeared from there, but not everyone's perfect and happy, and all this and the stuff with her brother and God. It just made her angry because it's like, this is a lie. What are you doing with your, what did God give you? And just, she knew her family had secrets, and it just comes down to lies, make her mad. It's like no one would be straight with her. And combine that with being a teenager and that angst that only doubles that feeling and makes it bubble over. And Meg understood her. Kind of like the first time we looked at each other, there was just that connection, that deviance thing. Yeah. With them, it was this sadness and this anger when they met on the bench. It's like, oh fuck, I get you. I'll do anything you tell me to do. And she told her to join Gold. So she did.
Lies. Yeah, show's filled with secrets and lies.
So you haven't seen season 1?
No, I need to go back and watch.
Get
I
back
need
to
to
me.
watch everything.
Because Carrie, in that, I mean, in all of them, but there's this one scene. I know you're going to know it when you see it.
Where she's...
just tears up the world. And like, well, no one should ever act again. I'm going to quit today, because she just destroyed everything.
Well, yeah,
She's
like,
phenomenal.
outside of her, obviously, who are some of your female muses?
On the show?
In general,
Ooh, in
artistically?
general, I love Carrie Mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
I think partially because the first thing I saw her in was An Education. The film. Did you see An Education? Mm-hmm. It's about this schoolgirl who falls in love with an older man. Okay. She's walking home and he pulls over and is like giving her attention. And so she decides to ditch her studies because she's in love with him. Mm-hmm. And her parents are like, please don't ditch your studies. Please, you need an education. And then in the end, he's not who he says he is. And she gave all of that up and had sex with him for the first time. Gave up everything for him to just be a guy taking advantage of her. Mm-hmm. And she just played it so well, and I was in a similar situation when I saw it. It's crazy. I was seeing this older guy, I was like 18 or 19, I had just moved out, and then I think I was thinking about like, oh, should I sleep with him? And then I watched that movie. Yeah, and so then I didn't. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that's part of the reason, just that movie and my time of life, but that made me just love her. So I'll watch anything she's in. Also, Alicia Vikander, mm-hmm. A Danish girl, or the Danish girl specifically, ripped me to shreds. Her performance, on a whole other level, I relate to that character and I love that film. Those are two for sure. I love Regina King, so when I had the opportunity to work with her, so excited. And she's also just so loving and giving, and yeah, she's phenomenal. Kevin Carroll. There are probably more, but those are the 4 off the top of my head.
Okay. And so now, what do you do to, I don't know, just what do you, because you seem right now to be very grounded, right? You seem very balanced, but I know that hasn't always been the case, so are there active steps you're taking to maintain that? Is it a day-to-day thing? Is it something that, because you earlier you spoke about seasons. Are you just kind of in a very balanced season right now? Because I know sometimes that can be the case. Right. Or is it something that, you're actively having to remind yourself about or, deal with every day?
It's a combination. It's an everyday thing. I'm kind of in a... We don't know if Will's being renewed or not. Mm-hmm. And so there's this waiting period kind of happening, which at first I didn't like because I want to be working like crazy. And I am working. Mm-hmm. I'm shooting Love right now, which is awesome. But I want to just know what's coming next. And yeah. And I've always been like that. But I'm choosing to just accept that I have this downtime and not hate it, My girlfriend's moving to town. We're getting a place together. That's going to take some time. We're going to do some traveling. I'm just letting myself have this time because I know if once the next thing happens, it might be a long time without a break.
It will be.
It will be a long time without a break. Hopefully a few years of insanity. That's what I want.
You should count on a decade.
That's what I want.
Put aside a good 10 years.
That's what I want. Insanity, shooting, traveling, go. Yeah. Insane. I want that.
So you feel that?
I feel that.
Okay.
And other people have spoke that over me, in a sense, So there's the part of me that's freaking out because I'm dramatic and always does. I'm like, I haven't had hardly in the auditions. I'm about to never work again. There's that voice in my head. But 85% of me is going, dude, take this time, chill out, find an apartment you like, breathe, go to some dance classes, see a movie, I'm just trying to take it day, which is funny because actually things are insane, but this insane is very relaxed for me. Yeah, so it's a day-to-day thing, and just having more active and honest conversations. You know, my roommates study at the studio, and I don't know, I've just trying to be aware of my thought patterns and my delusions and my ideas, and being more straightforward about what I'm thinking or feeling with other people. With my roommates, Courtney is messy. And this is something, and that's okay, but I've learned about, we just had to have a conversation where I was just straightforward. It's like, dude, it affects me. I need you to clean up. It took so much less energy than like the tiptoeing around, the stressfuling out, and it's just about directness. Cutting out the fluff.
Yeah.
Is really helpful for me and everyone around me. You know, and now it's no big thing, and they just clean or don't, whatever, but we're just direct, or being more direct in my relationship, or with my mom, or whoever, is a big part of it. Saves time.
All goes back to
all
time.
All goes back to time.
It all goes, I mean, yeah, wow. How do you, because like I said at the beginning of this talk, that I really noticed, especially when you came back from the Wales countryside. That's why black people say Wales. The Wales.
The Wales.
The Wales. You went to the Wales? You went to the McDonald's? And I just sucked my teeth. You were just like glowing, you know, you were centered, and it was like the universe was just shining through you. You know, you were in love with who you're in love with. You didn't give a fuck about, you know, who thought what about that. You know, you were working, you know, you liked the work that you were doing. You just seem to have so much knowledge and wisdom, and I guess you used the word humility, but I could just see, you know, all this, like, I could see your essence, you know, and I'd always seen it in like bits and pieces. I'd always seen flashes of it, but it was the first time I'd ever seen you just like sit in your true essence, the warrior woman, also mixed with the very, very kind-hearted, open-minded little girl that just wants to love. Yeah, and so I guess my question right now is, well, one, are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That you're operating in this space, and that moving forward. What's the question? I guess is it more? It's not like how to maintain it, because everything shifts, everything changes. It's more. It's like the essence of this conversation. I feel that the person I just described is like the definition of thriving. You know, for you specifically. How does that feel? You know, how would you describe that? You know, if there was someone here that sent in a question about, you know, well, you know, you've got so much going on. Of course, it's gonna feel like this. You know, you're on TV, blah blah blah. Your career's right. If you were speaking to yourself when you were working the multiple jobs, you know, working at the diner, you were doing the play, you were in class all the time, you were auditioning all the time, right before you booked The Leftovers, from this space, what would you share to that Jasmin?
Oh.
Which was only 2 years ago. That's what's so crazy. It was only 2 years ago.
That's crazy. That it's not about what you think it's about. It's not about the jobs. That's where the shift happened. It's because in December, I'm on this job, the dream job, because I'm shooting in another location in a country. I'm getting to do an accent, wear the most beautiful clothes. I'm a series just so many things make it the dream job. And there's this moment in the hotel where it's like, I'm lonely and this sucks. And I don't feel any better. I don't feel any more beautiful or smart or like I have any more worth. This is the worst. And then just other pieces of my life started to fall apart, all as a result of this delusion that would make everything better or make me better. And I had to come face to face with that with the help of our coach and some of my best friends. And I'd just be alone and sit with that for a while and lose almost everything in a sense to realize that that's not the case. This thing, this career or fame or money or whatever does not define me. Does not give me worth. And I was hoping that it would. That it would fill the void of the confusion of religion and who I am and all these things. I was hoping that would replace that, but it doesn't. It actually makes it worse. So that's what I would say. And that what it is about is just being you. Which sounds so cheesy, and everyone says, be yourself. But there's a reason everyone says that. They just don't get into it. And I just feel like I'm sitting more in myself lately. Like, that's what you said. Like, loving who I love, loving what I do, who I am. And I'm like a total nerd. And I love music and weird things. And like, you know, I just being okay with that more. Not even just being okay with it, but celebrating it. Which for me, what I've learned, and it can be with anything, I just have to out myself right away. Like, example, if I'm talking to someone new and they just assume I have a boyfriend or whatever, I have to just out myself to then feel comfortable. Because it's just like this quick admission and I feel like I'm going to throw up and I'm like, oh, I feel so exposed. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm me now and everyone knows it. And there's just this relaxing that happens. Whether it's sexuality or the music you really like. Everyone's talking, oh, have you listened to the new Kendrick Lamar album? Whatever. I have. I like it. But if I hadn't, rather than pretend that I have, I have to be like, no, I just listened to Demi Lovato's new album and be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just about outing, which is scary, and I want to throw up a lot. Even the dumb stuff, like the music, you know? But right afterwards, then there's this relaxing, you know? And it's so many different things contribute to being who I am. But that's a part of it. And I had to just sit in the stuff that I've done wrong and the bad parts of myself. I think that's part of it, too. Learning to accept all the parts of myself. I'm only at the beginning of that. But, you know, I can be a jerk. And rather than pretend that I can't, it's like, man, I was just a jerk. Why did I do that? Think about it for a minute. But then rather than indulge and be addicted to that feeling of, I'm such shit, I just have to think about it and then move on. And I'm learning a lot. But the key of what I would say is it's not about what you think it's about. That stuff's not going to make you feel any better. You just gotta get real with yourself. Love yourself. You know?
Yeah. I know, completely. I'm glad that you've come to terms with it. Makes everyone a better artist, you know, that when we're able to do that. Just makes life better. Yeah, you said something that made me think of this quote from... there's this really good podcast that this is partly inspired by called Off Camera with Sam Jones.
I love that podcast.
Yeah, it's my favorite podcast.
Me too.
And he was interviewing Colin Hanks last week. Did you hear that one? Okay.
A few weeks behind.
And Colin Hanks was talking about, I think it was Colin Hanks, I think this was Off Camera, where he was saying how, you know, there's so many times where, you know, we're at a party or something and someone's like, have you heard of this band? And, you know, and you let's say you don't...
That was the chair.
Okay. All right. Wouldn't be the first time.
I'm gassy.
Yeah. If you don't know the name of the band, don't just say, oh, yeah. You know, be like, no, who is that?
Right. And I do that all the time. So I'm just really working on that.
Oh, you do? I know that band when you don't really? Or
yeah.
You said, okay.
That's always been the habit, and that's what I'm working on not doing. Because especially with movies and music, I feel dumb a lot. There's a lot that I don't know. I just saw the Titanic for the first time 3 weeks ago.
Danny Nucci.
You know? It's bad. But rather than, I said, okay, yeah, I haven't seen the Titanic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed about it. But is that just an addiction?
I've never read the Bible.
At all?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't you grow up pretty...
No. I mean, my family was Catholic, but...
Do you have shame about that?
Not shame. I would like to read it. I've tried to... I think I've gotten to, like, the first page of Genesis, and I'm just like...
You can't.
I can't do this shit. But no, one, I don't think Catholics are that big into reading the Bible.
Oh, okay.
But two, yeah, it wasn't just like we never read the Bible. You know, we had them in the house, but never read them. So no, I mean, but like for me, it's like I want to read it. I know I should read it for just knowledge.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think it's the same?
Yeah, it feels the same to me. Yeah, because people, especially being an actor, reference movies all the time. There's certain movies I just need to have seen. Mm-hmm. You know, and I just haven't, and I feel like I need to.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also I have so many issues around that. All right, we got a few more minutes. I know you gotta go look at that place. Just I want to close out with like what you're doing musically now, but before that, it's kind of like when you're talking about there are movies and things that you should know as an artist that have been predetermined. There's like this list, right? Who wrote this list? And
Who wrote it?
it's like well, old white men wrote the list, just like they wrote the fucking laws. But it's like I've always had issue with the fact that people judge other people based on how they talk, based on accents or certain inflections or cadences or just the musicality in their voice, and how that can determine whether a person is considered intelligent or not.
Right.
And that's so irritating to me because in my mind I'm just like, if they make an effective point, if they get their point across, that's accomplishing the whole point of communication.
Right.
This is the point I'm making. Do you understand it? Yes or no? And if you do, then good. Great. You don't need to change the way you talk. And it's just like, people having to assimilate, to speak in a certain way, to operate in a certain way that other people, well, a specific minority understands and is okay with. And then it's like, then we go back to our communities, we go back into our homes, and the real person comes out, and it's so frustrating. And what you find is that, or what I've found is that, especially nowadays, it seems like the artists that are really, really artists that you named and artists that are really true artists for the right reasons and just very well-intentioned people that understand what it means to be an artist and a performer operate like that. It's not, this is who I am in front of the camera. Right. This is who I am behind closed doors. They're themselves. Like I watched, did you see Zendaya recently? She did
that lip sync battle thing? Yeah.
With Erykah Badu. Yeah. And like I did an episode of Casey Undercover with her, and she's young. She was young then. And I was like, oh, this girl, she's her. Even as a teenager, she was like, I was like, oh, this girl, like, she's fine. She just sits in it, whatever it is. She can play the game, like you're talking about, but she plays it from her vessel.
Right.
And to see her do Miss Badu, like that, it was just so clear. And then, the role that she has in the upcoming Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
she has a smaller role where she's not the pretty girl, where she's like the nerd.
Oh, good.
And she's like frumpy, and it's something I feel like you would do, a decision you would make instead of just being the love interest.
Right.
That's the damsel in distress. Well, I don't know how they're going to portray this girl in this movie. It's 2017. But she's like, you guys are stupid. She's got glasses. Her hair is all messy. Yeah. She probably plays video games all the time and eats Cheetos or something like that. But, like, that character choice was far more interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that was an artist who, kind of goes with whatever's being thrown at her, she just goes with what she has.
Yeah.
Because she really knows that it's enough. But that's so difficult to do.
It is.
It takes a lot of power and courage. But she just popped into my mind as I was talking about this. But yeah, that thing about, having to, do it a certain way and just so people can understand it really bothers me. So I went off on a little tangent there.
Oh, I loved it.
But I wanted to close with what you're doing, since it seems like time is of the motherfucking essence in your life and music is your life. Yeah. Music is you. You're glowing right now. You're glowing.
I believe it.
What are you doing with that?
Yeah.
Right now.
It's it's crazy we talk about this when you ask that, because just this last week, the last few days, last night even, I've been thinking about that. I just wrote a song last weekend, and I just bought Courtney's piano, because I'm moving out and she was selling it, and I got my guitar fixed, and I'm going to buy a mic, and when we move into this new apartment, I'm focusing on music. Because it's been acting since I got here. So much acting, and it still is. It's taking off, and I love it. But my soul misses the music, and I wrote the song so fast, because it needs to come out. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting myself prepared so that once we get moved in and I have the time, while we're still waiting to find out about the show, I can just be playing and singing and recording. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but the music is filling me up right now. It's calling for me.
That's great. That's incredible. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Excited to see what comes from that. Last thing, this is something we do at the end of all these conversations, is your definition of the word thrive. Aside from you just sitting here being the personification of it, just embodying the word.
I really feel like thrive means to be fully yourself. Because then you can't thrive any other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say you're at the top of whatever. Me being on this last job, I would say I was thriving the second half. I was there the whole time. I should have. Why aren't you thriving? You have everything you want. Because I just wasn't me when I first got there. And the second half I was thriving because I was. You know, to follow your impulses. To take time when you want to take time. Love who you love. Take a break. Watch a movie. Whatever. To thrive, I think, means to be fully oneself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was anything else ruminating in there.
I don't think so.
All right. And on that note, thank you, Jasmin Savoy. Thank you, Jasmin
Thank
Savoy
you,
Brown.
Tom Williamson.
Truly been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
And I'll see you in a few seconds once I hit the in button.
Once you hit the end button,
Yeah, just
we'll
make sure
still be here.
the recording goes off because my camera's filling up with too much footage, nudies, nude selfies. Yeah, she keeps sending them. This headphone.
Yeah.
No nudies on mine.
Lots on mine.
No.